Okay, to make CO2 gas with carbon monoxide, all you need is, firstly, standard active baker's yeast, baking soda and sugar. Then from that I am now using a 2-litre spray bottle, which I've modified to suit what I want to do. The tube, which used to run right down through the centre, which used to bring the spray fluid out, I no longer need that, so I have removed that altogether. So the pressure, the fluid that I've made from the sugar and yeast comes up to about here, and so we have this air gap in the top, and then as this gets pressurised, the air can now, or the gas in this case, can now come out through the top here and out through the nozzle. Now, to change, I have had to change this setup here because I don't want the spray system, so I have removed that there and taken the needle valve out of there altogether, and on the very front piece I drilled that out to a smaller diameter, just a tiny bit, than the tube coming out. Then I have stuffed the tube in it and glued it in there. From that point, your CO2 line then runs down into this bottle here, and this bottle has two functions. One is that you can count the bubbles of the gas which is coming from the CO2 generator. So as it builds up pressure, it pushes it out and you can see the bubbles coming. Okay, so then that tube here, which has come from the generator, passes right through down to the bottom of the jar. Then at the top of the jar I have another hole, and this only comes into the bottle by about 10 or 20 mils. It's just got to be in the top area of the bottle. This then allows the gas that's coming into here to come out through that, and that is the line that runs into your tank. So at that point I have a bleed off valve, so if I build up too much pressure I can just release the bleed off valve and get the flow to the point that I need. And then this other line is the line that runs through into your tank, and here is the result of that. And this is, I have made my own diffuser from using a flue injection needle, and this produces tiny little bubbles, which is absolutely ideal. And when they're in, and it's in the tank and the bubbles are rising, you can actually see that even though they're very small at the bottom of the tank, by the time they reach the top of the tank, they have diffused into the water, and the bubbles, some of them have disappeared, and others have got really small. So that's basically how I have set my little system up, and I am very pleased with it because it does exactly what I want, and so that's really it. So, oh yeah, the other point was that this, I said, has two functions, this jar. One is that you can count the bubbles of gas that are actually going into your tank. Ideally you want one bubble every 1 to 2 seconds, and this way you can see that and count that and get that right. The other thing is that it is a safety measure as well, this jar, and that is, if for some reason something goes wrong in here and we make really excess pressure and it was to blow under pressure, and some of this fluid accidentally got out of the top of here and came in, it would go into your fish tank, and that would not be very good at all, your yeast and sugar in your tank. So this way stops that. So if there's any blast of fluids come out of the generating bottle and are heading towards your tank, they get trapped in here because they get blown into here, and the water traps that yeast and sugar in there before it has time to get to your tank. So it is a very important part of your setup if you're going to do one. Okay, so this basically again, this is the spray bottle, sugar, baking soda, yeast.